Oilers, that decor is good enough. We've seen that.
Yeah.
The forward group's going to be a work in progress. They add Jack Roslovic to it. That's absolutely going to help with the number of guys they've got overslotted. They are going to get Hyman back. How do you fix goalie? Because it's not like this is new. And it's like, oh, shoot, okay, this is like, let's bring the fire extinguisher over here. Like, we've been talking about them needing to improve goalie for at least 3 years. Make Skinner a platoon guy. Make Skinner a 1B. When he's hot, you ride him. When he's not, you've got someone better.
Right.
I don't know how you solve this. All the good goalies are locked in. Everyone's signing their goalies because I think the GMs realize the rates are really good and they're hard to find. Like, how in the world would you approach this if you're Stan Bowman and you don't have a first this year? Your prospect pool is one of the bottom 5 in the league. You need to keep your theoretical Savoys and Howards because your forward wing depth is depleted. Like, how do you solve this?
I think the only thing, and you're right, they don't have a lot of currency. But I think what you are hoping, and this is a hope, like, now I know there's a long history with Ingram. I believe Knobloch knows him and as they like him. I actually think he's a pretty good goaltender. I think, but I believe he's Pickard's replacement. He's not Skinner's replacement. So
you haven't solved the problem.
You haven't. So that you're right. So that's what I just wanted to preface my comments. The way I look at it is they're going to have to wait and see. So there are some goaltenders coming up. Their contracts are coming up, right? The Markstroms, Bobrovsky, all of that type of stuff. Now older, but still have cachet. I still believe there maybe is one team that we don't know of yet that thinks they're a playoff team, and you're 25, 30 games in and they're not. Yeah. And they decide to go the other way. Maybe there's a goaltender there. And you can, again, you don't have the currency, or you might have to get creative to have the currency to trade for that. And again, I'm getting crazy, but let's say St. Louis just falls off a map and you go, what is it going to take to get Binnington?
Right.
Something like that. Because that has to be on the table for the Edmonton Oilers. That flat out has to be, because if they go and acquire somebody that you can just trust as can be your 1 or 1A, that is in equal or better than Stuart Skinner, that might solve a confidence issue from the fan base, the organization, and potentially, I don't know how the players feel. Everybody I talk to in Edmonton says they're fine with Stuart Skinner and love him and all of that type of stuff. They watch what we watch. I saw that the other night. That's not good enough, and the guy at the other end was better. And
I don't disagree with you guys on Skinner, and I'd love to poke fun at him too, and it was fun. It saved our week having the Flames come back and win that game for sure.
Yeah,
he's only got to win one game, and that's Game 7 in the final. And
you're right.
They're good enough to get into the playoffs. They're good enough to win a couple rounds. They're good enough. He only has to be hot at the right time.
Yeah, and he has been in the Western Final before. He's out to old Ottinger 2 years in a row. It's just that you had to bench him before that his playoffs. It's this with him, right?
So you're right that 100% everything you say is right, because it's not me standing in there making skate saves. It's this guy's a good goaltender. But my question is, can he do it when the chips are down? Now, I'll give you an example. Game 7 2 years ago. Did you love Sam Reinhart's game-winning goal?
No.
I didn't. That's a shot down the wall that goes short side through the body. That's a 1-1 game going in now. That's late in the second period, I believe, and that ends up being your game winner. Now, McDavid and Draisaitl didn't do much, in those couple games. Draisaitl was banged up, I believe, and McDavid kept running up against the wall. But that's a goal I wanted back. That's in Game 7. Game 6, I'm in the building watching these two. Game 6, I'm in the building. Yes, the first goal against is a grenade from Ekholm over to Bouchard, and then Bouchard gets walked by Reinhart. But at some point, Rhett, and you could speak.
Make a save,
You need to save at the right time. You're not going to make every save, but you need a big save. So he doesn't stop Reinhart. Reinhart makes a good play, changes his angle. Skinner doesn't adjust. And Reinhart basically hits a hole, a foot inside the post, not off the post and in, a hole inside the post where I thought Skinner was off his angle. Then you look at Kachuk's goal. Okay, McDavid over back checks. He goes to the wrong guy. but that's a shot from the point or from the top of the slot, and Skinner ends up like falling back and
Yeah.
I want to save at the right time.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I'm just saying that I don't think there's like, we're talking about it because we want to see the demise. We're not supportive of the Oilers. I don't think they're wringing their hands up there right now, worried about Skinner and their goaltending tandem. I really don't. I don't think they give a shit. And if it gets real bad, then we'll address it. And if something comes up that's attractive, they'll address it. But they're not sitting up there losing sleep over this.
No, you're right. One last thing before we transition. I had a general manager say to me, keep in mind, Edmonton came back. It was 2-2 in that series. 2-2.
Yeah.
Game 5, Calvin Pickard started. And I remember talking to an AGM. He said to me, he goes, where was that on your bingo card at the start of the year? McDavid's trying to win a Stanley Cup. They're trying to win a Stanley Cup, lost last season. And their hopes are on Calvin Pickard, like in their own building too, game 5. But their hopes is like, they're like, hey, we need Pickard to give us one here tonight. And you're going like, does that trust there? That's my biggest thing is it wasn't Skinner game 5. It was Pickard game 5. And he wasn't that great. And, their D weren't great. They gave up that goal to Marchand, 2 goals to Marchand, actually. But it was just, I'm sitting there going, if I'm a manager, I want to sleep at night and going in game 5. Right now, I know who's starting my game 5.
Right.
The crazy thing right now, they think that Skinner might be starting game 5. It could be Pickard or Ingram or whoever else. That's the crazy thing for me. That's 2 years in a row that Edmonton fans, organization, and players have had to go through the uncertainty. If put it this way, if the Calgary Flames are in game 5 of the Stanley Cup final, who's playing for them?
Yeah, it's one guy and one guy only.
One guy.
I know who he is. Well, and here's the thing. Like, yeah, you got to win game 7, but we also can't just hand wave the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. Like, they were a bad Calvin Pickard away from losing in round 1. He saved their bacon when Skinner was awful against the Kings.
Yes. But that's you need, if you determine that Skinner, which is a good goaltender, which he is, he has durability. For the most part, he got bonked there near the end of the year, and Pickard had to take over. But, he's played 60 games in the league. He's shown that he can handle that workload. He played another 23 in the playoffs. So he played 82 full games the year before last. But is he better as a tandem where he's pushed? And, I think early on, that's where they signed Jack Campbell. They wanted Skinner to push Campbell, and then he ended up pushing him out. But the thing for me is, I come back to it, trust. Do you trust right today that you're right? Regular season, they're going to win a bunch of games just because they're a good team and they've got depth, and their players are better than they showed, the second half of that game the other night. But I'm talking when the chips are down, because like I say, if you had to do this, and I do this all the time, you guys might want to do this exercise at some point, but it's almost a Daryl Sutter thing, Rhett, where you put on the whiteboard, would you rather have this guy or this guy? You do the matchups. Remember how Daryl was always like, do the matchups, right? So you go in the West and you do the matchups of who would you rather have in net, for your team? Is it Skinner or is it Demko? Is it Skinner or Hellebuck? Is it Skinner or, like, you go down the list of Skinner or Ottinger? Like,
he's not in the top 8, I'll tell you that.
Well, that's the thing. So now you start to go, a little bit farther down. Do you trust that your goaltending can get it done at critical areas, critical times, not just on a Tuesday in November where anybody can get it done?
We're all in agreement. All I'm saying is there's nothing to be done.
You gotta wait.
It's what the Flames need, a number 1 center.
Okay,
well, great. Hey, Dino, grab us one from Manitoba and bring it back. Do you mind?
On the tree, it's growing on the
like, whether you trust him or not this is what you fucking get. Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
Hey, buddies, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Also, if you could throw in a like and subscribe, it does help us out with what it is we are doing. And check out more at flamesnation.ca.